So by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify and select key features of a dynamic chart. Use an appropriate structure for your task and write a good introduction and overview, and also use a range of useful language to describe the detail. So here is our chart. So we'll have an overview of what you have to do. So describe the chart, 150 words, approximately 20 minutes. Summarize the information and select the key features, and then report the data only. So you don't need an opinion. Keep your opinions for writing task 2. Now, just going to ask you a quick question. Are you going to do your writing task 1 first or last? What do you think you would do? Are you going to write it first or last? So, yeah. Hatien, first, ooh, a lot of firsts. Okay, I would suggest you do it last. Okay, so there's kind of a mixture, but I would suggest you do it last. The reason for that is your task 2 carries more marks, and if you don't finish your task 2, for example, let's say you leave off the conclusion, it's a very important paragraph. So if you write your task 1, and you don't finish, you're just going to miss some of the data off there. You'll still have your introduction, your overview, so you're only going to miss some minor details. You really want to do your task 1 last, because task 2 is most important and carries the most marks. Okay. So let's have a look at interpreting the data. So what type of chart do we have here? Yeah, line chart, line graph, yeah, good. So what's being measured? So what is being measured? Materials, recycling rates, yeah, good. Everyone's on point there, yeah, good. So time period? Yeah, 82, yeah, good. So that means we're going to be doing what? So suitable tenses, what are we going to use? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, good. So what would you say the key features are? What would you say the key features are here? Highest and lowest, yeah. Types of materials in percent, yeah. Decline in paper, okay, good. Yeah. Highest, lowest, comparison, yeah, okay, good. Right, so we'll look at the key features then. So we have to identify the main trends, patterns, and events. And we need to select 2 or 3 main points. And then we want to describe these in 1 to 3 sentences after the introduction. And we don't want to include detailed data in an overview, okay? So we've got our key features. So yeah, some of you said highest paper, cardboard and glass. Lowest, we got plastics. Yeah, biggest change, aluminium cans. And then smallest change, plastics. So everyone's on point there. Yeah. So just having a look at the comments. Yeah. So everyone's pretty much got those key features. Okay, so here's our example structure. So we'd have the introduction. So what are you going to do in the introduction? Yeah, so paraphrase, good. And then we're going to have the overview. And then we'll have our body A and body B details. So we're going to paraphrase the title, 1 or 2 sentences, and state what the charts are showing. We will outline 3 to 4 main points, trends, and events, 2 to 4 sentences in our overview. And then body A, we're going to describe details, giving specific data and examples, 3 to 5 sentences. And then body B, we're going to look at doing the same, describe the details, giving specific data and examples, okay? Right. So let's have a look. So there's our question prompt. Okay. So we look at our introduction. And then, as he said, so everyone said paraphrase, so that's good. So we'll use synonyms and we'll change some of the grammar. And then we need to be accurate and precise. And we don't want to write a list of more than 5 items, okay? So we've got shows, proportion, different materials, recycled, we got the years, and then we've got a particular country. So let's see if we can do this. See if you can write me an example introduction for that. So I don't want to take too long. See if you can do it. If we've got any quick typers there, see if you can try and transform that into an introduction. See if anyone can do that. So while you're doing that, we'll have a look at how we can do that. Okay. Right. So the graph, so we've got shows. Okay. So Swareen, yeah, the graph illustrates. So, yeah, very good. Yeah. Okay, some good ones coming through there. So we've got proportion and recycled. So let's have a look at this. So recycling rates. Okay. And some, Roger, I wouldn't really use portrays. Yeah, so be careful. Okay. So 4 different materials. How do you think we would change that? Tashi, okay, good. Presents, okay. Okay, some good ones coming in. 4 types of material. Okay. Muhammad, yeah, several types, various materials. Okay, so there, we've actually listed them. In, so 1 country. So if we look at the time period, so instead of from, what can we use there? Okay, Mohammed, good, 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 good. Well, you wouldn't, Shawan, you wouldn't use during because you would only use that in a single time period. Yeah, during 1999. Okay, so we can use between 1982 and 2010. Okay, good. Some good examples coming through there. Right. So we've got 5 types of change in a dynamic graph. So what's this one? How would you describe this? Increase, rising, This one? Yeah, okay, good. This one. Maybe not flat, constant, yes. Yeah. Okay, stable, good. This one always confuses people. Fluctuating, fluctuate. Yeah, okay, good. And then the last one, what do we got? Yeah, okay, good. Peak, very good. So useful language. So we've got increase, decrease, stay the same, go up and down, and reach a high. So see if you can put the vocabulary in the correct box. So rise, where are we going to put that? Yeah, good. Remain constant. Okay, Sky, Michaela, good. Fluctuate. Good. Reach a peak. Okay, good. Oops, did that for you. Fall. Yeah, good. Grow. Yeah, good. And then rise and fall. Yeah, good. Decline. Yeah, good. 2. Vary. 3, 1. Yeah, good. Fall to a minimum. Okay. Climb. Yeah, good. Stay stable. Yeah, good. And then we've got drop. Okay, good. And then reach a maximum. Yeah, good. And finally, that's it. Okay, good. So you can see there the good variation in vocabulary you can use to describe the same thing. So that's what you want to be showing the examiner. You want to show them how good your control of Lexis is, and also paying particular attention to your word forms to make sure they're correct when you're describing the changes. Okay, so the number of cars. So what would go in the gap? Okay, yes. Okay, good. There was an okay. Okay. For cash, I think got that. An increase in the number of cars. The number of cars experienced an yeah, good. Yeah, so you're varying the word forms there, verb and noun, so that's good. Well done. And then the number of cars experienced a what? Uh-huh. So Carolina, steady. Yeah, okay. So again, a number of different ways to say the same thing. So it just shows you how you can vary your vocabulary and avoid repetition throughout your response when you're writing. Okay. So the number of cars. Think about your word forms. Yeah, fluctuated, good. Then sky, yeah. So I think of your word forms, fell, okay? The number of cars fluctuated, then fell. Okay, oosey, good sentence, yeah. Okay, sharply, okay. After fluctuating, the number of cars experienced okay. Okay, good. The four. After fluctuating, the number of cars experienced I already did it, Lala. Yeah, my mouse is very sensitive on this computer. I couldn't see it behind the text box there. Sharp 4. Okay. Yeah, good. So again, a number of different ways just to show good variation in the way that you're reporting the information. So if we look at the overview, so if there's no clear overview, you've got a problem. So you're not going to get higher than a 5. Okay, it says recounts detail mechanically with no clear overview. Band 6 presents an overview with information appropriately selected. So where you need to be is you need to be in the 7. Okay, so prevents a clear overview of main trends, differences, or stages. So you want to try and aim for that. That's what you need to be striving for. So you must have a good overview. So let's have a look. So when we're writing an overview, so we could possibly put in the highest. So we've got paper and cardboard plus glass. So what's the lowest? What's the lowest? Okay. The biggest change. Okay, yeah. Aluminium cans. Smallest change. Okay, good. Yeah, plastics. Righto, very good. So how are you going to start your overview? What word are you going to use? What transition signal? So Mohammed, Sky, yeah. So that's all you need to use. So you don't need to use in conclusion because that means you're going to offer an opinion. So just use overall. So overall, paper and cardboard recycling rates were, so what's going to go into the gap? So yeah, good. Okay, the highest, yeah. What's going to go there? Something by Sharon, yeah. Neo, okay. So followed by glass containers. Recycling of aluminium cans experienced the most significant. So what would we put in there? Good. Sky, yeah. Very good. Increase. And then plastic recyclings where, so what we're going to put in there, think of a connecting word. Michaela, okay, good. Deepthi, yeah, good, good. Okay. Rising only something over the period. So if you look at it, it's rising what? Vikash, yeah. Okay, both would work. Slightly over the period. Okay, so just have a look at what we've done there. Just read through it. So we've highlighted all of the key main changes there. Okay, we haven't included any data. So data you want to leave for the body. Okay, no data in your overview. Otherwise, you're taking material away from the body of your report. So save the data for there. So it's just general. Good. So we'll describe some details. In 1982, about something of paper and cardboard was recycled. Okay. Michaela, yeah. Yeah, I would say 65%, almost, thereabouts. Okay, good. This, okay. Fluctuated, yeah, good. I can't get Shima Takeshi. Okay, good. If I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. Before reaching a of 80% in 1994. Good. Good. Very good. From then, however, it decreased to a level of 70% in 2010. Yeah. Yeah, steadily. So I'm saying it's more than slightly. I would go for steadily for that. Okay. And we'll have a look at this one. This figure, something to I kind of missed that one off. It's behind my, I don't want to kind of move my image around there, otherwise I risk stalling everything there. So this figure, dropped, good. But then experienced a gradual from 40% to 60. Okay, good, increase, man, very good. So just have a look at that. We'll show the full report at the end anyhow, but just take it in. So we want to be looking at verb forms. So we've got the past simple active and we've got the past simple passive. Yeah, was recycled, fluctuated, decreased, were recycled, dropped, experienced. So linking expressions. So from then on, before, however, but then, and then adverbs and adjectives. Okay, about, steadily, gradual. And then cohesive devices, this, figure, it. So we've got a nice range of vocabulary going all the way through. Okay, so just have a quick look at that. So a good range. Okay, so let's have a look at the next paragraph. So aluminium cans were first recycled in okay, yeah. Okay, well, we'll go for 86. Okay, it's in the 86, so good. Starting at about 5%. Okay. And then this figure, something rapidly. Good. Albertu, yeah. Suchi. Just be careful with your word forms. So, climbed rapidly. Okay, good. So there's a number of different ways you could describe it. And by 2010, it had to Christ, yeah. Risen, yeah, good. On the other hand, recycling of plastics did not begin until okay, yeah, good. Very good. And constantly but slowly. Okay, good. Yeah, good. So grew constantly but slowly. What's going to go in there from around 2% to about 8% over the period? What's going to go in the gap there? Okay, Michaela, yeah. Okay. Rising from around 2%. Okay. So again, we've got our verb forms, past simple, past perfect. Yeah, we're first recycled, climbed, had risen, did not begin, grew. And then we've got our linking expressions there on the other hand, and but, and adverbs and adjectives, so rapidly, constantly, slowly. And then we've got our cohesive devices, this, figure, it. So we've got a good range of vocabulary again. Yeah. So we've described everything very well. We've got enough data in there. So, and we've got good range of vocabulary. And then we've got this, figure, it, there at the end. So there it is in all its glory. So as you can see, we've got a good range of vocab. We've got a clear overview describing the main overall trends. And then we've got a good mixture of data going through our body paragraphs and good range of vocabulary all the way through. Yeah, Paula says it seems so simple, but on the test day it's a mess. Well, that's where practice comes in. So the more you practice, the easier it gets. Okay, there you go, guys. So exam tips. So don't start writing straight away. Have a plan. So don't spend more than 20 minutes. Don't count your words. And then do practice on the official IELTS answer sheet. And you need a range of chart types. Okay. There we go.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Stephen, for the presentation.
No
Great job. And thank you guys for suggesting so many good answers and for your different questions as well. That's been really helpful. We will now have some time to discuss any questions you have about this task type or any general questions related to IELTS. So if you'd like to write up any questions you have in the Q&A, we'll start discussing them in a moment. That's great, Zhang. Glad you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's great to hear. Thank you, Wisteria. So while you guys are writing up your questions, I would just like to do a bit of promotion for our premium services, which we offer on our website, IELTSonlinetest.com. We offer both a writing and speaking evaluation service. So we have a team of qualified examiners who you can send in your writing to, and they will read over your writing and I give you an estimated band score, correct any mistakes that you've made, and give you feedback on your areas of strength and weakness. So Michaela is saying the writing evaluation is gold. That's a lovely feedback. Thank you, Michaela. We'll definitely pass that on to the team. We also have a similar service for speaking evaluation. You can book a mock test with a speaking examiner. We'll go through a full test with you, give you verbal feedback about your performance and also written feedback as well. So this can be a really good way to help identify the areas that you need to work on to get the band score that you need. Paral, you're asking, how do we evaluate for speaking? We do a face-to-face test with the student. We go through a full mock test, exactly the same as you would do in the actual test, except afterwards we're allowed to then tell you the score that you would achieve and also how you can improve your score. So that is the that's our writing and speaking evaluation. We also have a set of video lessons for reading and listening, which go through different strategies that you can use for the reading and listening sections of the test. We explain how to approach different question types, different tips that you can use that can speed up your reading or help you to identify trickier listening questions. I've put the link to that in the chat there. Please feel free to check it out. You'll find all the details on our website. Okay, so I can see a few of you have put some questions in the Q&A. So without further ado, I think we can start discussing some of these, hopefully give you some answers. So Stephen, we've got our first question here from Mariam, who is asking about the difference between the body paragraphs. What's the difference between the first and the second body paragraph? And this kind of links to another question that one of our students had, like, how can you divide the paragraphs up, the body paragraphs? So two kind of related questions there.
Yeah, I think that between the first and your second body is going to, you see how we did it there in our example. A lot is going to depend on how you decide to select the data. So the way I always try and tell students on what to look at is think of big, little, similar, and group information together based on big, little, and similar, and put those in your body paragraphs. So you might have two big changes in the first body paragraph, and you might, for example, have two minor changes in the second body paragraph. So a lot is really going to depend on the data. So that's when we're talking about data task ones. You also have to remember you've got maps, you've got describing a machine, an object, process, flowchart. So it's going to vary depending on what you're looking at, really. But with data, I would just follow that kind of approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. So yeah, I mean, one option is in your overview. If you outline 4 key trends, you can then go into them in more detail, 2 in your body, in one body paragraph, another 2 in your second body paragraph. As you said, Stephen, focusing on the highest, the lowest, and then the rest of them as well. I think what I've heard is that it doesn't really matter so much what particular way you use to organize, but as long as it's logical and it's clear for the examiner, then that's fine. Would you say
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. As long as it's logical and there's a clear progression, then, and you've reported the key features, you'll be fine.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's see. We have a question here from Mohammed about the conclusion. Do we need to write a conclusion for task 1?
No, you don't. So remember, your conclusion for your task 2 is including an opinion. So there is no opinion in a task 1. So your overview is acting like a summary sentence. So you're summarizing, the main trends over the time period. So that is a summary sentence in effect. But you don't want to be writing in conclusion. Yeah, no opinion in a task 1.
Absolutely. For your task 2, definitely you need a conclusion. For task 1, that's all that information will be in your overview. Excellent. Let's see. Suchi, do we have any links for task 2 on our YouTube channel? We do have lots of videos, recordings of our previous lessons up on our YouTube channel. So check those out. I've put the link in the chat. Guys, just talking about the chat, if you could please not share your personal details via the chat. If you like, you can join our Facebook group and you can chat to us and each other via Facebook, but using the chat to share personal details, we can't really be responsible for that. So please don't do it. Okay, thank you. I'll put the link to our Facebook group in the chat. You can get in touch and organize speaking practice that way. Okay, thank you. Let's see. I have a question this is a good question about task 1 from Fakamani. Fakamani is saying, is it a good idea to estimate figures to the nearest round number?
Yeah, I mean, you're only going to do that with something like a line graph and a bar chart, because obviously in the test you haven't got time to put a ruler across and see the exact figure. It's approximate. But with tables and pie charts, you're giving raw data, which means those are the exact figures. So you don't want to be using words like almost, approximately, because they're not, they're exact. So just remember with a table and a pie chart, the figures are exact. So, but bar charts and line charts, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it also, just to add, it can let you show some nice flexibility with your language as well. If you can say approximately this or just under that, it it's more varied, and it kind of captures the most important information rather than saying 63%. It's like, well, it's not that important to know the exact figure, but the important thing is that it's, you know, roughly 2/3, for example. So yeah, I think that's a bit more realistic in terms of academic writing. So let's see. Question here. Is there a significant difference between academic and general training writing levels?
Well, the difference in the actual task types is the task 2 essay is a little simpler. It doesn't require you to go into the question prompt is a little simpler. It doesn't require you to go into as much detail. And also you're writing a letter for the task 1. So it could be a letter of complaint. It's an interesting question because I did have a student that wanted an 8 in Australia and he could not get it in academic. So I told him to do the general training and he did get it in the general training. So I think there is quite a bit of a difference. And also when examiners are rating the task 1 and task 2s, there is a bit of a difference between them, yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. That's really helpful. Really good question from Hatien here, who is asking about the task 1. Shouldn't we add some comparisons in this task? You know, should we compare the different categories that are being described? So we had paper and aluminium and plastic. Should we be trying to compare the differences between them? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as we say in English, there's more than one way of skinning a cat. So, you know, you can do that. I mean, basically, we showed through the report anyhow, we're comparing it. And then also you would see some of the connectors in there, while, yeah, or however. So you are, rather than saying compared to, you're still comparing. You're just using different words, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did do a few comparisons as well there. You know, we said that plastics is the lowest. It only began at this time. So yeah, you're definitely right. Some comparatives, some superlatives also let you show off your range of language, and they can help to make the description clearer. Yeah. Let's see. Question here. Yep. So a few questions about the comparisons. Hopefully we've answered that one. Here is a question from Saba about task 2, agree, disagree. Do we have to take one side or can we be neutral?
It's a question that always comes up, and it's a good one because I think what happens is a lot of students tend to think if they're kind of in the middle, it's going to be easier to write, but that's not necessarily the case. Again, it depends on you personally. So remember, don't write something that you think the examiner wants to read, because the examiner doesn't care. They're just rating you based on how you respond to that question. So I would either agree or disagree and have a clear opinion based on agree or disagree. I think sometimes if you partially agree, partially disagree, you can make a bit of a hash up of the essay. But if you feel you can write, you know, partially agree, partially disagree, then that's not really an issue. But I have seen a lot of students make mistakes with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that totally. So I'm just looking at a couple of questions here. We've got some good ones. Michaela, you're asking, do we have a Facebook group for people who would like to practice speaking in general to make it more natural? If not, that would be a good idea. 100% agree. Yeah, that is a very good idea. We do have a Facebook group. I've put the link to that in the chat. I'll talk with our team and we'll see if we can set something up for more focused speaking practice. Okay, so I will let you know when we have some news about that. So let's see, very good question here from Lamis about using verbs. Is it a problem if I use a verb 2 times in the paragraph? I know we should avoid repetition, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah, as they say. Yeah, I mean, if you notice there, we had the noun form and the verb form. You could try and do that. I guess this just comes with practice. And, you know, the good thing is you can, once you're doing your editing after you've practiced the task one, you could go through and see what word forms you could have changed. Which is fine where you're looking at data. I think one of the issues is around processes or describing a machine or object. A lot of students are afraid of you pulling the vocabulary off what they're looking at, but you have to. So for example, if you were looking at for example, let's say a process of the water cycle, you know, and you're talking about clouds, then, you know, how many, you know, what paraphrases are you going to do there? You know, so that sometimes it's unavoidable if you've got something like a process or describing a machine or object, but with data, I think there's more flexibility for you to change the word forms or choose a different word.
Definitely, definitely. I absolutely agree with that. And if I could add that, you know, students often try to paraphrase every word because they're afraid of repeating a word, you know, because they think, oh, I need to show this huge variety of language and less common words. But as Stephen said, you know, some words you just can't paraphrase, so don't worry about them. And also, you shouldn't try to change every word because you're likely to use the word inappropriately and it will sound unnatural. So you're actually likely to lose marks if you are trying to paraphrase too much. I would suggest just trying to be simple and clear. And if you're not 100% sure that it's an appropriate use, just repeat the word, because at least it will be clear to the examiner what you're trying to express and it will be appropriate. So yeah, that would be my advice there. So yeah, let's see, Pachu, I did see your question. I think we can answer it. It's quite general, but how can we improve for task 1? What can we do to improve our writing in task 1?
Well, practice obviously makes perfect, and I know it's everyone says practice makes perfect, but it's like everything, you know. If you want to be a good tennis player, you have to practice. But you also need a teacher with the active skills of speaking and writing. You really need someone who's going to correct your errors and show you where you're going wrong. So it's really difficult to improve active skills if you don't have a teacher. That goes for speaking and writing. So you need to have someone that's going to correct your essays or your reports, point you in the right direction. I think you mentioned having a look at the recent tasks. I mean, sure, you could do that and practice them. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, practice as much as you can, but you definitely need to have someone kind of looking over your shoulder and pointing you in the right direction. So a good teacher is definitely necessary, I think.
Yeah, at least to give you some idea of what are your areas of strength and weakness, and then you can focus on those areas that you need to improve. Otherwise, it's very general, you know, how can I improve? Unless we see an example of your writing, it's difficult to know. So yeah, let's see, have some questions. Could we upload recent IELTS test questions on our website? This is from Neat. I will suggest this to the team, Neat. And you're saying with a band 9 answer as well. We'll see what we can do. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Let's see. We have I can see a question from Devanji in the chat. Could we organize webinars on other types of question in task 1? We do have a lot of other webinars coming up, Devanji, so you can check them out on our website. I'll put the link to the chat. We have a number of different ones coming up. I think there's one later this month on complex charts. So check that one out. We also have the recordings available on our YouTube channel as well. So you can go back and look at previous lessons via our YouTube channel. Let's see. We've got about 5 minutes left, so we'll try and get through as many of your questions as we can. There are quite a few coming in, so if we don't get round to it today, apologies, but you can also leave them as comments on the YouTube channel and we'll do our best to answer them in the video, okay? I've just put the link to that in the chat now, Akib, so thanks for that request. Let's see. A good question here, 2 related questions from Parul and Anonymous. This is more about task 2. What should I do if I don't understand the whole essay question?
I guess it's what we call damage limitation. You're just going to have to try and answer the question as best you can. I mean, what I would suggest you do really before you take the test is, 1, give yourself enough time, and then group the kind of essays under certain topics. So, for example, social problems, environmental problems, or whatever the tasks are, social issues, environmental issues, education, and then just go through and see which ones you have the most vocabulary for and see which ones you don't, and work on the ones that you're weakest at. So the kind of subject material. So, you know, if it's talking, let's say the task 2 is talking about capital punishment. So, for example, what is capital punishment? Maybe people don't know what capital punishment is. So the death penalty, but they've written capital punishment, yeah? So, you know, try and review them based on the general topic, social problems, environmental problems, and then just build your vocabulary up like that. Reading about current events is a great way to develop your ideas for your task 2s, because they're all about current events. So, you know, get into the habit of reading the newspapers in English and see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could just add to that. Oh, can you guys hear me okay? I'm getting a bit of feedback. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you, no problem.
Is that okay? Great. So Hatian saying, we'll lose marks for task achievement there. And yeah, I think, as you said, Stephen, that's absolutely right. You just need to try and answer the question as best you understand it, because you might lose marks for task achievement, but if your grammar, your vocabulary, your organization is good, then you can still score highly for those, even if you're answering a slightly different question, okay? Very good suggestion there, Michaela, about reading National Geographic. Yeah, great articles for vocabulary, excellent. Yeah, and they're interesting as well, which always helps, right? Fantastic. Let's see, this is a similar question related about reading. This is from Asus and Anonymous. I'm very weak in reading. I practice a lot, but it doesn't help. Are there any tips or techniques you can share with us?
Well, I think we've already got some reading webinars on YouTube, and we have done some, but just reading in general is not enough, because you need test taking kind of strategies, because the question types are a little bit different. So, for example, if you've got matching headings, then you want to be trying to find the topic sentence of the paragraph. So look at the first, second, and last sentences, to help you try and understand the meaning of the whole paragraph. Yes, no, true, false, not given are a little bit different because one is on factual information contained in the passage and the other is about the writer's opinion or argument. So you need to know the difference between an inference. So they're all slightly different. You know, summaries could be of the whole passage or part of the passage. So reading obviously is definitely, as much as you can, is going to improve, but you also need to go over some test taking strategies as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We do have some additional support for that on our website. For the reading and listening courses, I've put the link to that in the chat. That's something you might be interested in, looking at different strategies for different question types as well. So hope that will be helpful for you. I think definitely practice and practicing the strategies can help with your reading there. So guys, I'm afraid we have come up to the end of this webinar. So I hope you found it useful. Thank you so much for joining us. Big thank you to Stephen for presenting.
Bye, guys.
Here and for fielding your many questions. So yeah, that's great. If you do have further questions we didn't get to today, you can go to our YouTube channel, post them as comments, and we will get round to answering them there, okay? If you could also give us a like, a share, or subscribe as well, that would be great. It helps us to continue offering these lessons for free. So thank you guys, nice to hear your feedback. I'm glad you found it helpful. And yeah, please join us again for another webinar soon. So big thanks, guys. Thank you, Stephen. And oh, I think we've frozen here, but thanks very much, Stephen. We'll hope to see you soon.
You're welcome. See you, Jamie. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Cheers, guys. See you later.